Mark Sidious is back from a Sith vacation.
Yeah, well, not a Sith vacation. Like it was a proper.
It was a Sith mission.
Yeah. It was one of those like Sith missions, which Darth Maul is one of my favorite characters because Darth Maul is a bounty hunter.
He really is.
You know, he's he was the Emperor's bounty hunter.
Yeah.
You know?
He found him on Tatooine.
Yeah. I mean, he was a bounty hunter. So I went on a Sith bounty hunter mission, and it was exhausting.
Did you had probe droids?
I had probe droids.
Okay.
Yeah. Frank Lucatardo.
I was going to say he is a probe droid.
Yeah. And look, all these missions, you go out there with one goal. 17 lightsaber battles later, you're like missing an appendage.
Yeah.
You have a new robotic, thing on. I don't want to say what my new robotic. It's just.
Well, I was going to say your arm looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's an absolute mess. But look, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm jet lagged.
I bet.
Like it's like 2 a.m. for me right now.
I mean, jet lag. How much energy do you get rid of when you force lightning some fools?
Oh God.
Yeah.
No, force lightning and then have to take.
And then an intergalactic.
Like from the outer
light
rim,
speed.
or like the outer regions,
right?
Back to like the known regions, and back to Coruscant, back to the Sith Temple. I mean, it's friggin' exhausting, man.
Well, we're starting this cold open with the fact that you're back.
Yeah.
I'm glad to have you back.
Yeah. I'm glad to be back.
Are glad because there's been
very nice
overwhelming support for Rule of Two. And I want to thank everybody.
Yeah, especially on YouTube too, right?
YouTube, Twitter, the podcast network here on Podcast One is doing fantastic. And so thankful to everybody. I mean, they were so excited. I posted a picture of my dog. And somebody responded and said, "Yo, where's Rule of Two?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, screw the dog. Rule of Two.
Darth Callius.
That's my Sith bounty hunter. I send him out on missions against squirrels that are strong in the Force. I take them out.
Often they are. I mean, a squirrel can wield a lightsaber like few rodents.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so a big thanks up top. But it is episode 11 of Rule of Two. Let's get into it. That's right, it is Rule of Two, episode 11. Welcome back, Mark Sidious. I am your host,
to be back.
Darth Rylis, and this is a Star Wars podcast, a celebration of Star Wars found here on Podcast One feed, the official show from Collider's Jedi Council. So glad to have you back, Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah, a bit jet lagged again.
Jet lagged.
I'm going to keep using that as like a life preserver of sorts. In the maelstrom of my current state of mind.
I understand it happens. You were I won't say where, but it's a very long flight.
Yeah, very long flight.
Which I can't imagine.
15 hours in the air.
15 hours. Oh God, I'm such a bad flyer.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd last. I would need lots of sedatives,
right? Yeah,
and a few whiskeys.
So what's cooking in the world of Star Wars?
Well, you're gone. A lot came out, but the one I really want to focus on because I think it's a great thing that happened. I think the internet reacted very strongly to the Mandalorian. Did you see the image?
I saw one image.
Okay, you saw the Mandalorian
of what looked like very Boba Fett-ish with a T-21 rifle.
Yeah.
Was it a T-21? No.
I mean...
Maybe not. The T-21 is the one that the Empire uses.
I'm not sure what the rifle is. However, just this past week, or maybe it was last week, Favreau did share. He's on Instagram sharing this stuff.
Yeah.
And he shared the weapon. And it's a nod to the holiday special, which is...
Interesting.
That dual, like that pronged...
Yeah, because Boba Fett is in the holiday special.
Boba Fett's in the holiday special. That's where he made his first appearance before Empire Strikes Back.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that was his one time where it was a cartoon, and everybody's like, "Who's that guy?" And then we, of course, get Boba Fett. He becomes
I didn't know that.
One of the most popular characters in all of Star Wars history, and now we have this Mandalorian, but it's not Boba Fett. At least we don't know if Boba Fett will show up, but that's why I want to talk about the Mandalorian, because there's some interesting things happening. First, I'm going to get your reaction to the official synopsis that Jon Favreau dropped.
So I read it, but I don't quite remember it. So maybe let's talk about that. That's a good one.
So because it gets me going. So after the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, Another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. The Mandalorian is set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. We follow the travails of a lone gunfighter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic. Now, it's going to be written and produced by Jon Favreau. Previously announced, Dave Filoni is going to be directing the first episode.
Wow.
So there's our boy Dave Filoni coming in. We also have additional episodic directors. Deborah Chow, who did Jessica Jones. We have Rick Famuyiwa, who did Dope. We have Bryce Dallas Howard coming in.
Wow.
She's going to direct.
She's
and
great.
then my boy, Taika Waititi, Thor Ragnarok's Taika Waititi is going to direct.
That's a pretty impressive list of directors there.
It's so impressive. I am so excited. This gets me as excited I think I've been in a long time for something.
And when is it supposed to drop?
Now, we don't know. We don't have an official date, but we do know next year, 2019. I'm hearing rumblings of like December.
That soon, huh?
Yeah. You know, they're going to launch this streaming service. They're going to go in hard. They're really doing something interesting here. We got The Mandalorian coming on the streaming service. We're going to have a Loki series
Yeah.
with Tom Hiddleston,
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen.
I'm not so psyched about that one, but yeah. It could
Loki,
be
I'm
great.
excited about.
Loki
Loki,
is
come on.
incredible. That's a
But-
treat. That's a treat that we're getting.
Yes, that is a treat, but that's a podcast for another time.
Yeah,
and a
yeah,
whole nother thing.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian is what I'm looking at because, one, you hear lone gunfighter, you see the image, you get a Western vibe immediately.
Can I give you my knee-jerk reaction on
Sure,
it?
please.
So look, first of all, I'm very excited about it.
Okay.
Obviously.
yeah.
I mean, I can't wait.
Dave
you know.
Filoni.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
obviously, we're probably noodle our way to try to see it before it comes out.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
You know, I mean, like we're all about it. We're about it. Right?
We are about it.
Yeah. Here's my problem with it.
Ooh.
The place where the time period that it takes place to me echoes in one of my biggest issues that I have with Disney Star Wars.
Okay.
Which is the complete and total eradication of the Jedi.
Okay.
And that if finally we're getting something that we've all wanted for so long,
Yeah.
you know, I just hope that they find a way and that Jon Favreau is inspired by what I think is the greatest muse in entertainment history. This concept of the Jedi,
Yeah.
like the ultimate hero, and their enemies, the Sith, right?
Yeah.
And again, I just fear that we're going to get like another show or another piece of Star Wars content that is in some weird way avoiding the very thing that defines its brand. And it kind of bums me out a little bit.
Okay.
Even though I'm sure it could be great, and I'm sure they'll have to mention the Force in there at some point, right?
Now, you're assuming
yeah.
there's going to be
Assuming-
no Jedi in this. Because of the, you know what, you can read this and on paper,
Because of
no
the time
Jedi.
period.
Because of the time period.
I mean, there's only one Jedi.
There's one Jedi.
There's one Jedi, and you know his story doesn't seem that interesting. I mean, look, I'm sure his story is you know it's a story that we would all love to see, but is this show gonna talk about the legend of Luke Skywalker? Probably not, right?
You know, this is tough. Okay, so and I'm glad you brought that up because this is what I want to talk about. I want to speculate what we're going to see, what we would love to see, what is going to be some threads that they pull taut and connect the Force Awakens because we know Return of the Jedi happened and here we are. We're in that time frame. Now, it's mentioned that they are outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic.
Right.
That
So far
worries
from,
me a
far
bit.
from the influence of Leia Organa Solo, far from the influence of Luke Skywalker.
For now, we don't know how long this is going to go. Is this going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Are we going to get hundreds of episodes? We don't know. TBD. But I am assuming, and I am hoping more than anything, is that we get Jedi, we get references to the New Republic, we get characters from the New Republic. Maybe
We can't get Jedi though, right? According if it's going to be canon.
Okay, so I'm going to bring in a little bit of Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Okay.
Okay, because there's a little side mission there that I loved. And you're playing as Luke Skywalker.
Okay, this is good. This is good.
And Luke Skywalker is going around the galaxy looking for Jedi artifacts.
Right. He goes for the compass.
Yeah, he goes for the compass.
Yeah.
Now, people have mentioned Sebastian Stan, who plays Bucky, the Winter Soldier. Looks like a young Luke Skywalker. Really does. Could we get Luke Skywalker in this? I hope we do.
Wow,
Wouldn't it be great?
Is that where your expectations are at? That
My
we
expectations.
Might get Luke Skywalker in the show.
This is speculation. We're playing with house money right now.
Oh man.
Let's go there. Why not? Why can't we get Luke Skywalker in this? Why can't we?
Are you speculating responsibly, to quote the great Ken Napzok right now?
I am speculating responsibly because I've seen Luke Skywalker in the game, which is canon.
Yeah.
Go around looking for artifacts. Now, these are outer reaches of the galaxy. I don't see why we couldn't see them cross paths somehow. It would be an event. Do you realize if we get, and I'm not talking this is going to happen the first season. Oh, no.
Okay.
I think it's going to, I think they're going to set
Gotham or like one of those.
Sure. Yes. They're going to set up the world.
Smallville that took like 7 seasons for Superman to come out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to get whispers. You're going to have characters might be mentioned. We're going to get established here. I'm thinking Game of Thrones, just dirty, gritty, stuff happening. We're going to fall in love with these characters, and there's going to be things that can maybe come because, mind you, it's interesting they mentioned set after the fall of the Empire and before the emergence of the First Order. Why can't we set that up? That is a huge time period leading up to Force Awakens that we know nothing about aside from Bloodline, that great book by Claudia Gray that was more about the politics, and it was Leia running the show and being somewhat, how does her family history come into it? I'm not going to ruin the book, but the politics of that, her family history, what does that do? Why can't we?
Yeah.
We have the perfect vehicle here to introduce some politics, to introduce characters. Why not? Let's say 3 years in, we get whispers.
Yeah,
a new Jedi Academy is up.
I mean, but 3 years is a long time to speculate. You're speculating way past the.
I am only doing what Star Wars fans do.
Right. The statute of limitations for it's like you can't predict episode 16 right now.
I can't, but I just don't see how they couldn't really tie that in.
First of all, I have 2 thoughts on this.
Okay.
Number one, I think you might be crazy. Okay. Only because of what they've shown us, I don't think we're getting Luke Skywalker anywhere near this show. Yeah. Okay, like maybe there'll be whispers of it, but
it's a Hail Mary pass. I am going to admit
recast. And look, there's so many variables pointing against it. One, it's not consistent with the kind of content that the new Star Wars Disney regime has done. Right? They've been favoring content outside the realm of the Jedi. I do believe that there is a systemic destruction of the Jedi Order happening inside of the Star Wars franchise, less and less focus on Jedi. We can all agree that that's true, right?
Right now, but I think Episode 9 is really going to pull it all together.
If you take every single scene that's come out since Disney bought Star Wars that have Jedi in it, Rebels aside, because Rebels actually, I think, does a really nice job, especially in that 3rd season, of like showing you some really cool Jedi stuff.
Oh, yeah. And they tied that stuff in with Ahsoka from Clone Wars.
And Darth Vader and all that stuff. So, like,
but
Rebels aside.
That was Dave Filoni.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. That's a quick little, that's a quick little.
Pew, pew.
So there's that. Then there's the fact that Luke Skywalker is so iconic that I think it would be really tough to recast Luke. It's not out of the question, though. I mean, they recast Han Solo. Okay, so it's not out of the
That's
question.
my point.
Okay.
Okay,
so then, but then you have the timeline thing, which is, I'm more sort of taking it at face value.
Yeah.
This mention now that you read it again of the far reaches, okay? Maybe what's more likely, to your point of Dave Filoni wanting to reintroduce the DNA of Star Wars, which is, whether you like it or not, really based around the Jedi. I mean, when you held a flashlight and you were a little kid in your room, you weren't a stormtrooper, okay? You were a Jedi. Maybe you role played as Han Solo in your mind when you were doing stuff, but most likely you were a Jedi.
Did you ever do this, the tape measure? I would get up to it's about that.
Oh, and then
I'd click it locked, and then I would just hold it and then go, And it's,
right, right.
there's my
Right,
lightsaber.
but you used the flashlight as well.
I used the flashlight as well. I
Right,
used anything I could get my hands on. Yeah.
So,
I was a Jedi.
what if with Dave Filoni, who I do believe, I'm with you and I'm with Harloff on this. He is proof is in the pudding. I think the best steward for Star Wars that we can have right now. Okay, given all the things, right? I think he's done some really cool stuff. But what if in the far reaches you have some escaped Order 66 Jedi a la Rebels,
Okay.
right?
Ooh.
And then you have the continuation of that thread that they tried to plug in Solo of, I forget the name of the group right now.
Crimson Sun.
The Crimson Sun.
Is that it? Yeah.
Right? And then that somehow this legacy of Darth Maul has trained other dark side users, and that somehow our man, it would be really cool. I mean, but first of all, that's if there are Jedi in it, I think it'll be introduced more in Order 66 survivors, and some kind of like edge case culty thing that maybe Night Sisters.
Oh, see,
get introduced.
I'm
to
all
it.
in for this.
Right. Night
Yeah.
Sisters, maybe the Zabrak. Maybe there's like a Zabrak main character.
I mean,
part of the gang.
I'm going to say you called me out on my love of Luke Skywalker, that I'm going to insert him into any Star Wars story.
Right.
I get it. It's just, but you're starting to pick up on my wavelength.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm going, where I don't see why we couldn't have Jedi. Let's say we have 3 seasons in and it's like whispers a Jedi council has been formed by Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, Favreau's not going to do it without putting in a Jedi. I think, you know what?
Yeah.
I actually think that there will be lightsaber in season 1. I'm going to make that prediction right now.
Yeah?
There will be a lightsaber in season 1. What do you think? Am I way off?
Nope.
What's the odds on it?
I'm going to go with you on that one too.
If you had to handicap it, what do you think it would be? Like a 50-50?
I mean, I would say it's a 90% chance. You know why?
Wow. 90,
Every time we've tried to call one of these spin-off story movies, especially with Solo, it's like, nah, there's not going to be any lightsabers. And what happens?
Right.
They do the cameo, and then he didn't even need that lightsaber.
Fair, yeah.
He didn't even need it. He goes, I'll see you later. Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so you know, everyone, here's a lightsaber.
Okay.
I think that we could get that. And plus, don't you want to see Mandalorians taking on Jedi? I mean, isn't that the dream?
Well, here's what I think is the interesting part.
Yeah.
Okay. And first of all, for the comment section and the tweet, let us know, do you think there will be a lightsaber in season 1 of The Mandalorian?
Great call.
Yes or no? Okay.
Yeah. Drop those in. We'll answer some later.
All right. So here's where I think it might go.
I like this.
Okay, because this is very Dave Filoni. Because you kind of reminded me Dave Filoni's involved in this, even though Favreau is the showrunner, though.
Favreau's the showrunner, but Dave Filoni is directing the pilot. He is setting it up.
Right. Okay.
He's like, on your mark, go.
What's one of the coolest storylines in Rebels that I think people really gravitated towards?
In Rebels?
Yeah, that started out, I believe, in Clone Wars, but it's the story of the Darksaber.
The Darksaber, right. That, I was going to go with Ahsoka Vader.
Right.
But they're both in there.
Yeah,
So.
okay. Now, the story of the Darksaber also is really kind of our biggest insight into the Mandalorians, right? That and also in Clone Wars, there's some great episodes with the Mandalorians. I forget the names of them right now, but there's some great episodes with the Mandalorians and, Obi-Wan falling for Satine
Right.
and all those things. So there's a lot of history with the Mandalorians already in canon, right?
Yeah.
What if our protagonist is Force sensitive?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think it actually might be that. That's what, you know what? I bet you that's going to be the big reveal at the end of season 1. Now I might not be speculating responsibly.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
But I think that our Mandalorian lead character is going to be Force sensitive.
Boy, that would be interesting.
Because that's an arc you can develop for 5 seasons.
You absolutely could. There's a lot of things. I think you are right on the money. I didn't even consider this, but the Darksaber, the Mandalorians that were introduced in Rebels.
Yeah.
It seems ripe for this. I'm also going to go a little bit further. I'm going to keep speculating responsibly.
Okay.
Snoke.
Oh boy! Wow, that's responsible.
Yeah. Far reaches,
Skywalker and
outer realm,
Snoke?
outer rim, unknown regions. Are we going to get that? I'm not saying Snoke's going to appear. What I'm speculating on, again, and I take it just from this little thing, the fall of the Empire before the emergence of the First Order. That's a lot of ground. That's 30 years or so of ground. So I'm wondering, and again, when I say Snoke, Luke Skywalker, I'm wondering if it's going to be mentions. It's a big galaxy, but I am hating myself somewhat because I'm doing what I am sometimes against when I say like Rey's parents are nobody, because the universe would seem so small then.
Right.
I'm making the universe small because at the end of the day, I'm a fan. I love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm also a little bit different. If it doesn't come true and it's good storytelling, I'm in.
Yeah. Look, I'd love to see Snoke. Why not? Right? Why
not?
Snoke's a great character.
We're playing with house money right now.
We're playing with house money. But if we're really trying to speculate,
Yeah.
throwing out Luke Skywalker and Snoke, you got to admit those are two those are haymakers.
Yeah, they are. But you know why?
Okay.
Dave Filoni
Yeah.
and Jon Favreau are fanboys.
Yeah.
They know the mythology.
Yeah. That's why I
Filoni-
think that the main character will be force sensitive.
I'm wondering. That's interesting to me. But Filoni knows what he's doing. He is able to weave in. This is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, but it's not. Weave in fan service by fitting the story. Like he gives us these great characters. He brings Ahsoka back.
Yeah.
He's able to introduce Kanan
I know,
and
but you're
Ezra.
making an assumption that I want to challenge for a second.
I like it.
Okay.
They like it when you challenge me.
Is Filoni's not creatively involved past the pilot, though,
TBD.
right? So
He's,
you can't necessarily
yeah, it's-
grant all the attributes of a Filoni type series, which we have two whole sample sizes of, right? In Rebels and Clone Wars, you can't necessarily put those attributes on the Mandalorian because he's directing the pilot, but he's not necessarily involved in the writing team, or is he? That's my question.
You know what? I'm gonna go look, and first Dave Filoni on taking on more stuff. I don't know if it's gonna pop up. This is something that I just started looking up. Let's just go with TBD. He's going to direct the pilot.
Yes.
Now he's a big monkey muck over there.
Right.
I don't see why you wouldn't utilize Filoni more for this. Sure, Favreau is your guy.
Yeah, I mean, if Favreau's the showrunner, he's going to have, hopefully, a vision of what he wants to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not like he's going to co-opt his vision with Filoni. Like, Filoni's involved in the pilot. He's directing the pilot,
Here we go.
okay?
Executive produced by Jon Favreau, Kathleen Kennedy, Colin Wilson, Dave Filoni.
Okay.
So he's an executive producer.
He's an executive producer. All right, that's a bigger deal.
This is why I speculated responsibly.
Yeah.
I think that
I mean, still connecting from that to Jedi is a pretty logical step. Connecting it to Luke Skywalker and Snoke is a little bit more aggressive.
it's aggressive. I agree. I'm throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Why not?
Here's why I'm doing it though. Dave Filoni was able to create Ahsoka. He was able to create a great arc where she walks away from the Jedi Order in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then what does he
Man.
do? Rebels.
She would be great in fucking. She would be
right? She's so great.
Can you imagine if she's the one that shows up in Mandalorian?
I mean,
Would
why
the
not?
timeline allow it?
I don't know what they're going to do because we're still.
It's 30 years between Last Jedi and Force Awakens, right?
Ahsoka was. It looked like she perished to Darth Vader's hand in Rebels.
Spoiler warning.
But
I haven't seen that episode.
what?
No, actually,
But we don't know that. No. It was left pretty ambiguous.
like you're talking about the episode where she fights Vader.
Yeah.
But she's in other episodes after that, though, isn't she?
I don't know.
Okay. Because in that one, I think she gets away. But anyway,
Well, Filoni goes on stage at Star Wars Celebration.
Okay.
And it says like something Ahsoka. I can't remember, but then the lights go out and they show something, and then the lights come back and it says Ahsoka lives. So he was almost giving a little nod because there's this mythology that she was a turned into something else. This is
okay.
where
Okay.
I wish Ken Knapsack, Christian Harloff were here on the show.
Yeah.
Because we're
Because we don't know is the bottom
we're
line.
the fans. We're fans, but I mean, it's like it just took a turn where we didn't do any research for this particular topic.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, she would be great in the show. But I'm sorry, keep going.
The reason I bring up Snoke, the reason I bring up Luke Skywalker, the reason I bring up Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is, and especially Dave Filoni, is that he's listening to the fans.
Yeah.
It feels like. So we get Ahsoka.
Yeah, and he's good with the saber. He's good with the Jedi stuff.
He's good with all of that.
He really understands the Jedi.
Now, and the reason I bring up Snoke and the reason I bring up Luke Skywalker is that, and you know my stance on The Last Jedi. I love it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
So why couldn't you kind of build something in a backstory, introduce some things? And again, it's all going to come down to the writing. I'm not saying recast Mark Hamill. That is the last thing I want.
Right.
But could there be mentions of Luke Skywalker? Could there be, in the travails of the galaxy in these outer reaches? You know, the Mandalorian is in, you know, he's walking in what looks like a great Star Wars, you know, we've seen a million times. The marketplace, you know, looks like Tatooine or Jakku, whatever. You know, is he walking around and it's like whispers of a new Jedi Order? You know, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker did it. And it's like, maybe, oh boy.
Maybe another, even though I do think that the storyline is going to revolve around this kind of Mandalorian stuff that Dave Filoni has set up.
Absolutely. That's going to be everything.
With the clans and all that stuff, and you know, all the drama of that, you know. And I do think you will get mention of something related to Satine because she was involved in like the hierarchy of the like of the Mandalorians and all that stuff. It's gonna be badass. You're gonna get a lot of jetpack fights.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna get a ton of those jetpack fights. Remember those jetpack fights from the Clone Wars?
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
Yeah, you're gonna get a ton of those. It's gonna be fun.
That was some of the best stuff ever. So we're gonna get all that, I'm sure. I love the idea of it picking up after the Empire because it's almost like there's the New Republic is there.
But my point was, are you gonna get? Is it gonna be like a? Because look, with the Mandalorian and a bounty hunter, you could really have a procedural show.
Yeah.
Like even though I know they wouldn't do that, but you could have a procedural show where every episode has got a little bit of its own flair, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I guess there hasn't been a procedural show in a very, very long time, but
it's interesting to put that through the lens of a Star Wars.
Yeah, because you can actually really do it.
You can play with genres here. We're already with the Western vibe here.
Yeah.
So there's the genre.
Is this bounty hunter actually being? And no, because it's not relevant to the timeline.
I mean, we don't really know. It's just there's no name to this guy.
Is he hunting Jedi down? But why would he be?
Why would he be? I mean, I think you're on the right track, at least in my headcanon, with the clans and the Mandalorians. And they mentioned Jango Fett and Boba Fett for a reason. They want to get the fans excited. You know, it's like, oh, we recognize that. We look at this. Okay, we see
but
another.
They're clones of each other.
Those were clones now.
Are they implying that there's clones left? Because
let's throw this out there. Why couldn't Boba Fett come back? Right? It's not necessarily. It's hinted at in the Aftermath books.
Yeah.
That Boba Fett's armor.
One
was
thing
being
we haven't
forsold.
Not to interrupt you, I'm totally cut you off here. Wasn't there a Mandalorian bounty hunter show in development by Lucas for live action?
You're thinking of 1313, I believe.
Yeah.
And yes. And so...
Are they leveraging any of that content for this show?
I think they are, yeah. Christian made a point of that, and he's absolutely right, is that there were rumors of Mandalorians being a part of that.
I think Filoni worked on that as well.
Yes, underground... kind of the underground seedy underbelly of the galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Mandalorians were rumored there. I think that they took a lot of concept art, maybe characters, and they wrote scripts, hundreds of
12
scripts.
episodes I heard.
I thought it was like a whole Bible of scripts.
Right.
So I think they're going to reuse a lot of that
first of all,
stuff.
it's very interesting.
It's very interesting. I think you're absolutely going to see some carryover. Now we don't have the scripts. We don't know in particular, but you know what this is? All of this is speculation, sure.
Yeah.
But there is so much time in between the two time frames of the First Order, Fall of the Empire. we have the ability. Whether it happens or not, sure, but you have the ability to introduce a Jedi Order. You have the ability to see the politics of the New Republic. You have the ability to bring Boba Fett back.
Yeah.
You have the ability to show Jedi, new characters. Like, give me some of that prequel flair. Give me some of that.
It won't be Boba or Jango, but
Jango for sure. He has no head.
They're clones.
We have one clone.
Is there any lead about the actor from the prequels being in it?
Tamura Morrison is our guy. He was Jango, so you can assume under the helmet is Jango, is Tamura Morrison's character, who's a clone.
Right.
Now, it was hinted at again in the Aftermath books that Boba Fett survived. Is that there was his armor or stuff was on sale in a marketplace. Maybe this guy's looking for it. Could Boba Fett make an appearance? I would say that the Disney streaming service is absolutely perfect to introduce your Boba Fett back to life.
Yeah,
why
just
he crawls
like they
out
did with Darth Maul in Clone Wars.
It's been, I believe Boba Fett crawling out of the Sarlacc because of all the stuff he has on him, more than I would buy, at least at the time. If you told me,
can you imagine? Can you imagine if it's like on some Logan shit, and it's like an old grizzled Boba Fett?
I love it. Yes,
crawled out of the pits.
Yeah,
with like
he's got a scar on him,
like just one purpose. Fucking destroy Han Solo.
Yeah. Well, now you're talking. Then you're talking. What happens?
Yeah, and it's a streaming service, right? And our boy Alden Ehrenreich. I mean, I guess he'd be too old by this point. The character, but
the character would be. But again, why not?
Yeah, a Logan style Boba Fett, like has a limp.
I wonder this.
Scar,
I wonder if they do that though. But instead of like the vendetta against Han Solo, it's that he's getting back into the Mandalorians, or does he? Is there a storyline where it's like you're a bounty hunter, you survived, you've turned your back on the clan,
like Logan, right?
Like Logan,
leaves everything behind. And they keep dragging him back in.
I'm going to make a prediction myself.
Here we go.
Boba Fett will appear in this series, season 2.
Season 2, huh?
Yeah, why not?
I think if they bring him in, they bring him in season 1.
Yeah, I could see that too. I mean, there's so much. This is what I love about.
Yeah. Look, this conversation has got me more excited about this show than I was before I started doing it.
Well, and again, let's go to Boba Fett because, not to put anything. Tamura Morrison is appearing in Aquaman. He's going to be in that movie. He plays Aquaman's father, who meets Nicole Kidman. Yeah, he's got a part in that.
But he's not rumored to be a part of this.
He's not rumored to be a part of this. But here's my point. Is that
we should get somebody on that story?
I know,
right? We should try to get somebody on that story.
We send out our crack team of investigators here. We got a lot of people.
It's tough to crack those Disney stories.
I know, man.
Much respect to their infrastructure, man. They're like
Frosty did put out that scoop.
I mean, we have
pressing pause.
We have gone through the raised shields, from time to time.
We were called out as being full of it, and then it's like Bob Iger comes out and goes, "No, we hit pause."
Always
and our
on
scoop,
the move.
always on the move. But what my point is with the streaming service is that it is perfect for a character like Tamura Morrison, who is not. No offense to him, he's not an A-list like Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill or God rest her soul, but Carrie Fisher. But some of these big names or
he'd be perfect for
A-list, for lack of a better term, you could bring him in because you can go. We're having you reprise your role as Boba Fett.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal, dude.
That's a big deal for the fans.
Yeah,
that's a huge deal.
What about the kid who played
Daniel Logan?
Yeah,
why not? He's up there. He's old enough.
Yeah, is he a good actor now? Is he still working?
I don't know. He is great with the fans and great with the conventions, and he's got his full Boba Fett thing going on at conventions. Nice. But I think, and no offense to Daniel Logan, I think that you bring in Tamura Morrison.
Yeah. You really, he's the recognizable.
You recognize the face. You connect the prequels. You connect the whole storyline.
Makes
Why
it more
not?
legit.
I think you could do it. Again, the Luke Skywalker Snoke thing is really geeky fan casting for myself right now. I'm going to call myself on that. But
I think it's a little bit out there. But
it's out there. But I'm not going to say it's they appear. Luke Skywalker, I would love, and maybe if they cast and look.
Yeah,
we got
you
Marvel
even have a casting for it. I mean, you really went all in on that one.
I would say that you could reference Snoke or reference something building in the outer rims, the unknown
I agree
regions,
with that.
you can reference that. And Luke Skywalker's name could be mentioned.
Snoke I actually see possibly being in the show.
I mean, again, I went because you're all yelling at me right now, and I know it. I could feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Maybe not.
No,
but
the Snoke was pretty good.
Snoke's years later. This is like something where in my head canon, I keep looking at Game of Thrones because I just love that series so much.
Yeah,
I binged on it and
so good.
Many kingdoms and a lot of space you can bring in.
But you're describing a slow burn TV show.
Slow burn when you think
and like Bloodline is a great show, but it's a slow burn.
Right. But slow burn when I say Snoke, it's like it can come organically in.
Right.
The New Republic is rising.
So the
Mandalorians
there's
are
some Phantom Menace type thing, like somebody pulling the strings.
Could be.
And then at the end it's revealed, oh, it's Snoke.
But again, here's my long-term prediction. Right now it's the New Republic is rising from the Empire that just falls, right? So on the outside of that, in the outer reach of the galaxy, you have the lone Mandalorian. So we're going to get Mandalorians. They're operating outside of the New Republic. So they're going to do their things. We're going to get the underground, the underbelly of the galaxy. Maybe we're going to get some huts. Maybe we're going to go back to Tatooine, the crime syndicate. All this kind of stuff is going to be going on. But we can hear about the New Republic. And then it could be like, I picture a few seasons down. It's like we learn politics. We learn stuff like this. And it's like there's a crew that's against the Republic right now. We're starting our own faction right now. We're calling it the First Order. Mm-hmm. And we have a guy. Who's your guy? Don't worry about it. He's in the unknown regions. There's your connection right there to Snoke. I feel like there's dynamics that can work.
Yeah.
No. And the politics and that, like these Mandalorians are going to be outside of it, but I absolutely believe that we're going to, because I think we need it too. The other thing that I've been missing from the new trilogy is the politics. I love the politics in the prequels. I do.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
It's fun.
But we knew that that's the Republic.
Yeah.
It
First of all,
falls.
you're probably going to get a lot of that.
Right.
You're probably going to get, at least like.
I think we need it.
Yeah.
I think we need.
Here's
my point. This is your chance to fill in all the blanks that we've been missing. The rebuilding of the Jedi Order, the rebuilding of the New Republic, the First Order rising up from the Empire's ashes. That's all stuff we've missed, and we just pick up. Luke Skywalker's vanished.
So look, let's my jet lag is really kicking in. So let's.
Oh, we did it pretty good here.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna wrap it on this one, okay?
Okay.
If you had to pick a comparable show for Mandalorian, okay, from shows that have come before, like if we were to say, okay, this show will be the most similar in structure, in like exposition scope, right? Because like on a television show, you have something like, let's say, Hannibal, right? And Hannibal has all these very complicated storylines, many murderers. Lost, many different storylines, a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
True Detective, one storyline,
right?
But a lot of character development, right? Bloodline, one story, a lot of character development.
Breaking Bad, couple characters, one storyline.
Yeah, but then you have something like Battlestar Galactica, many different storylines, right? But then you have something more like anyway. There's a clear-cut difference in styles of shows out there, right? If I'm thinking about this show, you know what show I kind of have in my head that I think this might be similar to?
I wonder if we're going to say the same show.
For me, I think it's Fargo.
Oh, okay. No, I was way off.
So I'm thinking, have you seen the first season of Fargo?
No, Fargo is something I need to get to.
Okay.
The first season everybody's told me it's brilliant.
The first season of Fargo is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. But it is essentially a character piece. So it does follow one person very closely throughout this, Fargo is a little weird because it's really a tragedy. And, I don't think the show is going to be a tragedy. I think it's going to be the opposite. I actually think it's going to be a hero's tale. The more we talk about it, I'm pretty convinced that this show will have our Mandalorian revealed as Force sensitive to some degree.
I love that.
I think that's my big takeaway, and it's going to be, and it's almost like spoiler warning, like he's Force sensitive, because they're going to slow burn that story.
And again, this goes into, I love that idea because this goes into why I said Luke Skywalker. It's because of the Jedi
First of all,
Order.
maybe Luke Skywalker comes looking for him, or you could feel him, right?
I think that, yep. I'm wondering if they will go that route. If, a few years down the line, we get buzzings of a new Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Why would
The Logan thing is pretty cool too, though.
I like that. I love the idea of Boba Fett.
As an
Snoke,
old
TBD.
grizzled, yeah. These are almost two totally different shows, but I like both of them.
Here's the
You
Mandalorian
could maybe
in my.
put them together, right? Get a little bit more lost, have different characters, but
Here's mine. It's Deadwood meets Battlestar Galactica. I think that you could have the
Battlestar
grit.
Galactica is so fucking good.
It's the best.
Yeah.
The new version of Battlestar Galactica, and here's why Battlestar Galactica: the mythology with the Cylons and the technology that advanced so
It's a
much
very
that you don't know.
complicated show. Many different layers of
many different layers
of narrative.
Why couldn't you introduce a similar mythology? Not Cylon and weirdness like human whatever, but you can introduce Jedi, like to your point, is why I bought up Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Force-sensitive beings. Deadwood for the obvious reason.
Yeah.
Deadwood, gritty, Western. Don't need to curse in the Star Wars universe necessarily, but it's that lone gunfighter thing. And I think you could have a nice mix. I think you could introduce, and again, very specific here, ties to the New Republic, ties to hearing storylines, hearing about the Jedi. What does that do for the Mandalorian? How does that tie into a Darksaber if we're going to get that? How is that going to tie into Snoke maybe later down the line to the First Order? How is that going to shape? This galaxy now is with the New Republic, and sooner or later we are going to get to a point where the First Order is there. That's what we can explore.
Yeah. I think you have slightly more ambitious expectations for this show than I do.
Yeah.
Which is great because if it even comes like 50 feet away from Battlestar Galactica, we're all going to be very, very happy.
We're going to be
Can
very
you imagine
happy.
if there was a Star Wars TV show that could be spoken about in the same sentence as Battlestar Galactica, or even for that matter, Deadwood? I mean, I think we would all be very, very happy about that.
If we're talking years down the line, what are your favorite TV shows? Oh, The Mandalorian's up there, dude.
Right. Yeah.
Really?
Like even in a top 10 discussion, I mean, we would be very, very happy.
Game of Thrones is just it's a masterpiece.
Sure.
It is. In television. It really is. I mean, I have fallen in love
For
with
me,
that
it's in
show.
my top three. My top three changes all the time, but
Absolutely. For me, right now, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, and Lost are my three favorite, and then I have Battlestar after that, and then probably.
I mean, for me, I'd have to put The Sopranos. Very similar list, first of all, but I'd have to put The Sopranos in there.
I haven't watched The Sopranos. Can you believe that?
Oh my Lord!
I know.
God, it's almost like I want to throw you out of the room. You've never seen The Sopranos?
I watched, I believe, the first season, like half of it.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I know. I loved it.
I actually just rewatched the entire thing last
I
year.
have to. I know. It's on my list. I'm trying to get the old
so
fiance
look, just
to do
close
it.
out. Just to close out.
Let's close this out.
Let's close this out. I see it more as a show where the Darksaber will definitely, I think, play into it. I think that's a very strong storyline.
Yeah.
I think our main character will prove himself to be force sensitive. And I do agree with you that we will get smells of Snoke throughout the show.
Again, I'm thinking with Snoke. I'm thinking
And
it's far down the line.
I think there'll be references to Skywalker, references
Yes.
to Solo, references to Leia.
That's where I think we're going to get references. Maybe not the character.
Yeah.
It's on my own fan casting that Sebastian Stan can come in.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'll do that because of your reasons of Luke Skywalker and Mark Hamill.
At this point, why not, right?
Why not?
Yeah. So-
But that will do it. That is episode 11 of Rule of Two. We talked about The Mandalorian. We did a lot of speculating.
Yes.
Guys, again, this is speculation. Have fun with this.
Yeah,
if you
jet
think I'm
lag
crazy,
speculation too,
jet
so-
lag speculation, if you think I'm crazy for Luke Skywalker appearing, let me know. But would you want that? Could you see it tie in some way? We're talking the Jedi Order here. It's going to be rebuilt somehow,
Yeah.
some way,
Yeah.
because we see
and
it
the
referenced.
Knights of Ren, maybe.
Maybe the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait a minute. Force sensitive, Mandalorian, Knights of Ren. Maybe that's how they become the Knights of Ren. You know what? We're doing a lot of speculation here. It's hurting my own head,
All right.
and I'm not jet lagged. So, Mark Fernandez, Mark Sidious, where can people find you?
Mark Fernandez, Twitter.
There it is on Twitter. And as always, at Riley Around on Twitter and Instagram. Drop in some comments here because we are on the Collider Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. Give it a like for this episode. Then go on over to Jedi Council on Podcast One feed. This is the official spin-off show of Jedi Council, Rule of Two, on Jedi Council Podcast One feed. Give that a like. Share that around. Why don't you give us some 4-star, some 5-star ratings. Get all your friends talking about this one. And we will be back next week for a brand new episode of Rule of Two. Well, guys, we will see you then.
Rise.